Do I believe there are manuscript problems in the Bible? I think that a lot of the discrepancies between one book and another are simply an issue of reportage, people rounding up. So Chronicles might say there were X amount of people, and this book might say there was another group of people because they're leaving out kids or they're, whatever it is. So I think that that kind of stuff isn't so much discrepancy. I think what we do oftentimes is we come at the Bible as 21st century Canadian thinkers, and we think that they're trying to provide us with the exact same kind of documentation as we would if we were doing writing someone's biography or something. That's one big mistake that people do when they come to the Gospels. They think that the Gospels are a 21st, and it's really anachronistic of us to do that, to go back to texts that are 2,000, 4,000 years old and say, you should do things like this because this is the way we do it, for the last 200 years here in the Western world. It's not what the Gospels are trying to do. They actually have the freedom in their genre not to even write everything chronologically, but to take stories and group them thematically based on the theological intent of the document and so on. And so I think a lot of the examples that people raise and say, look, the Bible's not, it's not inerrant, it's not perfect, it has all these mistakes. I think when you get into it, most of them are dealt with the kind of literature and what we're talking about, how it's different than you and I interact with text. People bring up, Mark says there was one angel at the tomb. Jesus or Matthew says there was two angels. Ergo, look, we have this big problem. No, it's where there is one, there is two. Mark is just zoning in on one angel that talked. He's not giving us detailed reports about how many angels there happen to be there, where Matthew is. And so there was two angels at the tomb. It's just Mark zooms in on one that was talking. People say, well, Judas, there's different accounts of Judas's death. One book says that he hung himself, and another book says that, his body spilled all over, his guts spilled all over, but those aren't contradictory accounts. They're just, he hung himself, and then over time, he rotted, the rope broke, whatever, and he fell down and spilled his guts all over the place. So Norm Geisler has great material on this, and he goes through all these things that people raise, all of these passages, these supposed problems that say, oh, look, the Bible's not true, and he deals with them and shows how each and every one of them has a perfectly rational explanation based on what the Bible's trying to do. And I think that's really important. The Bible is not trying to do some of the things that we think it should, and so we have to enter it on its own terms rather than judging it by